Welcome to Soothing Saturday, where we kick off our training shoes and chill. I'm Shifu Pain, and when last we looked at the Shaolin Temple and the mythos it has, we left off with the Shaolin Temple becoming largely more of a tourist trap, and Shaolin martial arts becoming the more contemporary wushu. And while that episode largely painted the large brushstrokes of the piece, today we're going to go in with some of the more fine details of this great tapestry we're weaving. I feel as though I mixed a couple of metaphors there, but what the hey? Let's not waste any more time, and get on to the show!
Tracking back to the Tang Dynasty during the time of great acclaim for the Shaolin Temple, it was high time that the temple expanded to the corners of Asia. Along with this, other temples were folded into the Shaolin brand. The ones that are most important for us are the Fujian Temple in the Fujian province, the Kwangtung Temple in Guangdong, just by Hong Kong, the Wu-Tang Monastery in the mountains of the Hubei province, Shan, one of China's first Buddhist monasteries in the Sichuan province. Sorry for the pronunciations.
At this point, Shaolin study could largely be considered akin to a course at a university or college, whereby Shaolin martial arts becomes almost one of the degrees you could study, along with other courses such as religion, philosophy, or medicine. Now's probably a good time to go over some of the geological factors at play here. Because China was not and is not just a large mass of land with one consistent form of weather or geological pattern, unlike the UK, where we kinda get to work by boat.
The northern hemisphere of China tends to have more dry seasons and therefore allows for more long-ranged attacks and a greater use of kicks. By comparison, the southern hemisphere is far muddier and requires more hand-to-hand and grappling for effective combat.
Although it should be noted that overlap did exist, and was probably encouraged as well in order to have more of a well-rounded fighter.
In the early 10th century, a monk called Chu Yuan created his final dissertation in the form of the 72 movements, a series of exercises that combined internal and external exercises. After this, Chu Yuan left to teach and expand his range of knowledge. Meeting a master of pressure point fighting known as Pai Yu Fen, the two of them combined their knowledge in a group project and created 170 exercises that lay the groundwork for modern Chinese martial arts.
And before you ask, yes, I did try to draw 242 frames to represent each individual technique. Here's a rendering of the result.
I did. But it came at a price.
A tradition was also started of students leaving the Shaolin Temple after accruing enough mastery to expand their own experience as well as gain greater knowledge for the Shaolin Temple. With this, the Shaolin Temple became a cultural hub for the sharing and distribution of martial arts knowledge, which it still is in a way, as the practices of the Shaolin Temple are more accessible than ever thanks to the internet and large distribution to the Western world. Before leaving the temple to study elsewhere, however, monks had to pass a series of tests in order to show their mastery as a martial artist, in what was known as the 18 Chambers.
This was more symbolic rather than literal chambers, as no actual evidence has been found of such rooms existing on the temple premises.
Breaking these tests into a series of physical, mental and spiritual trials, with 6 of each, all bringing monks to the breaking point of exhaustion. Finally, as either a final test or a mark of success, potential masters had to pick up a searing hot cauldron with their bare forearms. The trick being that the cauldron would have a different mark on it, depending on the temple.
Some notable examples include
The Henan Temple used a dragon and phoenix to symbolize balance or a yin-yang relationship. Wu-Tang Temple utilized a tiger and dragon, showing the physical side of martial arts. The Temple of Guangdong used 2 dragons as they were closer to the emperor, and the Shan Temple used 2 cranes as it was closer to the Tibetan border and had more healers.
branding this potential master would serve as their black belt. I think I prefer the belt, honestly.
In the 16th century, so around a century before the Qing Dynasty destroyed 1,000 years of martial arts knowledge, along with the Henan Shaolin Temple, no, I'm not mad, 3 practitioners known as Zhue Huan, Li Su, and Bai Yu Fen worked together to produce the 5 animal style of Shaolin. The 5 animal styles are based on animals, go figure, and is not only a form of combat but also serves as a form of philosophy for life, as each style prioritizes a different philosophy and segment of the body. Tiger style develops stronger bones, leopard style builds strength, crane style strengthens the sinews, snake style develops internal energy, and finally dragon style cultivates the spirit.
There is more to the history of Shaolin, but here is where it goes from one consistent timeline into a long branching of several different styles. All of these are a topic we'll go over at a later date. And we have to bear in mind that some of the knowledge of Shaolin practice we could have had has been lost due to the Qing Dynasty destroying that 1,000 years of knowledge, which was very terrible, but something that I'm totally fine with. So we're not ever going to have a completely clear picture of Shaolin history. With that being in mind, what are we left with instead?
Considering everything we've looked at here, both last video and today, that when it comes to a myth about the subject, oftentimes behind the scenes it's very similar to our own lives and experiences. People setting out for their passions and aspirations and going to great lengths to achieve those goals, choosing to gain more experience beyond what they're comfortable with, be it a university outside of our hometown or a semester in another country. But I think why the Shaolin Temple's myth persists so much, aside from Hollywood, is due to the desire to go to a place and become such an awesome badass. We all love a bit of escapism, where we get to imagine ourselves as an awesome, unbeatable paragon of awesomeness. And when we find a place where people become the real thing, we can't help but want to get as close to that as we possibly can.
So remember kids, when following your aspirations, being it in martial arts or in your own personal passions, make sure to savour and enjoy every single second of that time you spend honing your craft and practicing what you love. Because eventually, one day, a great oncoming force could swarm in and destroy absolutely everything you've worked so hard for. No! No! I can't take this anymore! No! No! Those donkeys! What are they thinking? Those bloody morons! No! I can't do this anymore! We're calling it, we're ending it here, I'm making tea! Thank you everyone for watching this week's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss a new video. And as always everyone, peace be with you.